We're done with the clay and now it's on to the grass courts, and Carlos Alcaraz returns at Queens, where he's been champion there before, and Jannik Sinner returns in Halle. Will we have either of them winning Wimbledon this year? But Jack Draper will have a thing or two to say about it.
That's right, Ben. We're back on the grass. We've moved away from Roland Garros and that epic final between the two best players in the world, Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. But they're both playing again, this time in separate tournaments. We're going to go through both draws and have a discussion about that and see if they can win. But if anything's to go by these last weeks of events, we had one in Holland, the other in Germany, Stuttgart, and then potentially maybe neither of them will win the tournaments, because in Hertogenbosch, I'm not sure how to say it, but we've got Zizou Bergs in the final against Diallo, and that was a tournament with Medvedev. I think Hurkacz was there and some other big players. Stuttgart, more business as usual. We've got Zverev Fritz in the final. That one's just been interrupted, but Fritz took the first set. Could we just see a complete shock in Queens and the other event we're going to be going through? Or is Alcaraz and Sinner just really consistent and they're going to just breeze it?
Good question. I'm excited by the start of the grass court swing. I think that they're just levels above everybody. Even though it's going to be a fresh start on a new surface, we've seen Alcaraz make the transition before, and we know how good he normally is at Queens. It's just whether he comes up against Jack Draper in the final, for me, if he gets defeated. Those are the two big players at Queens. And obviously, Jannik Sinner, we know he's been good on the grass at Wimbledon before. Can he get a tournament win coming into Wimbledon in Halle? I mean, he looked so good on the clay after 3 months off. I think that he's just going to hit the ground running on the grass as well. His game is so good on the grass. His serve is so dangerous, and his ball striking, probably one of the best on the tour. So definitely going to be going through the draw on both of these, and it's going to be hard to look past either of those to make the final for sure.
Yeah, just a notable shout out to Riley Opelka, who's back. He beat Medvedev in 2 tie breaks, hitting so many aces. And with that time of year on the grass, I don't like the grass court swing as much as any of the others, to be fair. I find the tennis can sometimes be a little bit too quick, and I'd rather see some longer rallies. And watching Opelka just reminded me of all the years I've seen it over the years at Queens and Halle or Wimbledon, where you just got to serve and that's it. It's very much the serve plus 1 too. So let me know what you guys think. I just find it a little bit too same old, same. Like we see the same things happening.
Yep.
But let's see what's happening with these upcoming events. So let's look at maybe Queens first.
Sure. Let's look at that first. Obviously, yeah, big servers. We've seen Kyrgios been to the final of Wimbledon, Berrettini been to the final of Wimbledon. All of these big servers who aren't so great on some of the other surfaces, that's where they come to life, because it requires much less of the grueling rallies, which we see the likes of Carlos Alcaraz doing well at. But he has won Wimbledon also the last 2 years running. He's going for number 3. He's playing his little golf game again there over in Queens. Seems to play at every tournament now. And he's got Davidovich Fokina in the first round. I don't expect much trouble for Carlos Alcaraz.
It wouldn't surprise me if he has a wobble, though, in this event in Queens. And as much as Sinner's robotic, we've seen some strange performances from Alcaraz over the years after the highs. And I think he's been celebrating. He's happy. So it could be a bit of a lull tournament where he's not going to be at his best. I reckon we will see the best version of him at Wimbledon. He'll be fully zoned in and focused and more prepared for that. But there is a potential matchup with an Alcaraz-Opelka early doors. And if Opelka plays his ultimate best and can serve him off the court, it could be straight sets, 2 tie breaks. And Opelka can do that, I think, to anyone. Shelton is another name who can do that. And we've seen how close they have been, Alcaraz and Shelton. Shelton put up a really good performance, I thought, against him when they've played over the years, even recently. And I just feel that maybe one of them, or two Americans, could knock out an Alcaraz on this side. And I think it's super dangerous. Of course, Shelton is a lot better of a player than a Pelko. He's got more overall game as well. So that, I think, could be an interesting one. And I'm not that convinced like you are that we're going to be getting an Alcaraz Draper final.
Well, I think you've done well to spot, obviously, Shelton there in the draw. I think that in the future, it could be a Wimbledon champion, Ben Shelton. He's got the game that suits the
Definitely,
surface,
yeah.
like the
His
biggest
volleying's good as well.
the biggest serve in the game. One of the hardest hitters as well, and like you say, great volleying as well. I just think it's a matter of time before he keeps building and on the grass to finally get a big title. Who knows? Maybe Queens this year. That could be what he's got his eyes set on. He's seen Jack Draper, very similar style player, another lefty who's done well at the event. And if you get past Alcaraz at this event, you're nearly a shoe-in to either win it or at least make the final. So I wouldn't be surprised. You've got Holger Rune on that side of the draw as well. We've got Dimitrov Monfils. That's a battle of the old guard there in the first round. And Jakub Mensik versus Cam Norrie. Cam Norrie's like the dangerous floater, I feel, around the tour at the moment. No one's going to want to play him. And Mensik, that's just an awful draw for him.
With Norrie's rankings for Wimbledon, he's a real dangerous player you need to avoid.
Very. Ben Shelton in the top 10 right now. That should be noted, which is brilliant for him. Holger Rune is number 9 in the world. Let's look over to the other side. And Jack Draper playing Jensen Brooksby in the first round. Not the easiest, but I think Draper, high caliber player these days, especially on the grass. I think it takes a little bit longer for some of the other players to find their feet, whereas he's played on grass from this high, so he knows how to win on the grass courts. I was actually surprised he was so good on the clay, but he wasn't. Poprin's in his section. That's a good player for the grass as well. He's got a big serve, quite a big game. On his side, we've got Evans, TFO. Dan Evans been trying to get back into some form again. I think he qualified for a tournament this week and then just went out maybe in the first or second round. But yeah, on the grass,
we've got some finalists there as well, Ben, and Diallo and Fritz. Fritz playing right now, beating Zverev in that final. We'll update you. Maybe it'll be finished by the time we finish this episode. Fernley, I think, could be good too, being British.
Yes, very good.
And Lloyd Harris, I think, is a very dangerous wild card. We've seen his serve. He's a very good player, and one which I reckon he might even surprise Diallo, because Diallo, I think he's exerted so much this week. We might not see his best, and Lloyd Harris could come through. But all in all, I think it's a very good tournament with some very top players playing.
Yeah. Good young talent in there.
It can go either way, and I'm not really that convinced that we're going to be seeing Alcaraz win this title. Of course, he is a level above all of them, but I just feel, I don't know what his motivations are so soon after Roland Garros in that first event to come back and win this one. I think it'll be a big effort on the new surface, and potentially we could see him win a few matches, lose to someone we're not expecting him to, and then be back ready for Wimbledon.
Yeah, I think the main matchup, should we get it, will be Alcaraz Shelton, and if he gets past him, that's the toughest test, because it's all about your reflexes on the grass courts. It's all about how fast you can to react to the big servers. We've seen Djokovic do it over the years. He just seems to have that fast twitch muscle fiber where he's able to just guess as well the correct way. As soon as the ball's in play, then it's normally dominated by the better player, which is always Djokovic, Alcaraz, and you name them, Federer, all the top players. So return of serve, so important. And if he gets past Shelton, which I think he has the tools to do, it could be a 3-setter and a big thriller. Do you think that his section's slightly easier, despite Shelton, than what's on Draper's side? Obviously, we've seen some of these players, which I know that it's not traditionally more difficult, but you've got Mpechi Pericard there, massive server. We've got British players who are always good on the grass court.
You're always going to get British players playing in a British event more than most.
Sure. But they're dangerous on grass. That's what I'm saying. Like Fernley against Djokovic, remember?
Yeah, for sure. And this is why I keep saying I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park for Alcaraz, because this is a warm-up event for the big one. And he's played so much tennis. And
Yeah,
that final, even though he won it, would have taken so much out of him mentally and
yeah,
physically.
mentally as well,
Mentally
for
more
sure.
so than anything. And I just don't think he's able to. What we've seen the other day, we need to speak about the final of
We
Roland Garros,
do.
is an event which doesn't happen all the time. You don't get these you don't even get them one a year
Like a
sometimes.
solar eclipse, I think.
They are very, very big moments in tennis, and it was a very high level match, one of the best we've seen since Nadal, Djokovic, and all them rivalries. So to be able to see that so soon after the big three is special, and we're
Yes.
lucky for that. But I do think it will take some time to adapt and react from that. You could say with Yannick Sinner, him getting so close, being 2 sets up, then losing that match is going to soul crush him and destroy him, and he's going to find it even. But I think he's going to be, by losing that one, I think he's a little bit more tapped in, and mentally he's going to be ready to
Driven.
go because of his character as well. He's a bit of a different character to Alcaraz. He was able to sort of put that to one side as great performance, move on. Alcaraz, I think, still living in that moment. So Sinner, I'm more confident in him in his event in Halle,
Yeah.
and Alcaraz here in Queens, not so confident. I think there's some really good players here, and I could make a case for about 5 of them to beat him.
Yeah, definitely. It's just one of those things that I know we haven't really had a chance to speak about. We spoke about it directly after the final finished, but since then we've sort of just soaking it in. There's been so much reaction. I've seen so many different podcasts around the internet, even that aren't sport related, talking about it as well, which is brilliant for the sport. But like you say, this was the first time we saw them in a Grand Slam final together, and boy, it didn't disappoint, did it? Like,
No.
that's the biggest thing about it. It could have been like a big letdown because it was built up so much. Like, these are the two best players. These are the next
Yeah.
ones in line. We want to see them playing each other. If it had just been like a nice, easy victory, then everyone would be like, oh, well, that was a bit of a letdown. But it wasn't. It was one of the best finals I think I've ever seen in my life. It had everything. It had the biggest comeback. One of the biggest comebacks ever, I think, from 3 championship points down. I don't know if we'll ever see that again for another like 5-6 years, maybe 10. Who knows? In a slam final, that is so rare. Yeah, it was like history we witnessed.
But it could happen in the sense of with these two, I think we are going to see some extreme matches, and
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if we do see it sooner rather than later. Maybe not in the same scenario of Love 40 all their championship
Yeah.
points and the way it was and the way it played out. But I do expect to see really good high level tennis from them, and 5-set matches will go all the way to the end.
Yes.
But that's my thoughts on this one. If I'm to identify a real dangerous player to watch, I have a feeling that Ben Shelton could do very well at this tournament. If not Shelton, go back to the other graphic a second. There's someone on the other side. I think maybe like if not Shelton, I'm going towards a Fernley.
Not Fritz.
No.
Despite his good form on the grass.
Fritz is so good on grass.
Yeah, very.
He's someone who I think will go far at Wimbledon. I'd expect him in the final 4 at Wimbledon.
A finalist for the future, I think.
Draw permitting. Let's see what the draw's like.
It's sad to say a finalist and not a winner, but I feel like someone like a Shelton gives me more of a vibe of someone who could go on and mentally just get it over the line more than a Fritz. But we're here to be proven wrong, and we've been proven wrong many, many times before. Just to show Alcaraz's draw here, it would be Fokina, probably Thompson round 2. He's a pretty good grass court player. Shelton in the quarters, or Opelka. Then Mensik, Runa, or Dimitrov semis, and then Draper, Fritz. Dimonor, we're not really spoken about. He does sometimes get blasted away a little bit on the grass courts. It's only so much speed you can have that gets you through on the grass. I remember watching live Steve Johnson beating him at Wimbledon.
Yeah.
So that puts into perspective Big Steve. I know that he did have a big match in him here and there, but shouldn't really be losing to somebody lower ranks like that.
He's better though. He's a lot better. When was that when we watched that? About 5 years ago, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
4 years ago, 5
Yeah.
years ago. He's come on so much since then,
massively.
de Minaur, and I think he is a good grass court player within reason. But unfortunately, I don't think he's got the power against some of these other players. That's why I've not spoke about him so much as like someone who I think is going to win this tournament. But yeah, it's going to have to play some tough players. I think it's great preparation for Wimbledon. Let's see what level Carlos Alcaraz is at. And I'm watching this one in a more interested way than most because I'm just going to watch it and see how he reacts and adapts to this surface so soon after that big match. And if he can handle the big serving of either a Shelton or an Opelka in the quarterfinal. He's been fine in the past, but I don't know if he might have one eye on Wimbledon already.
If you had to pick one player to win it, who would you go for?
Well, I've already said. I think I'm sort of edging towards a Shelton as my player to win it. In terms of outside a weird pick, I'll be going Fernley. But I think Fritz has great credentials to be the other one. So maybe a Fritz Shelton final if Fernley's not able to do the business. But Fernley is a dangerous outsider.
Definitely. I'll be backing Jack Draper. I think that going out slightly earlier at Roland Garros will have helped him. He'll have more time. He would have gone straight onto grass courts to like start warming up, getting himself accustomed to the surface.
And he beat Alcaraz, right?
Yep, exactly. The only guy to beat him, what is it, in the last couple of years? Yeah. I mean, Alcaraz pretty formidable on grass courts.
That's
but
true, yeah.
Jack Draper, one of the guys who can beat him on a grass court. So maybe Jannik Sinner probably could as well, but we're yet to see that matchup. Let's move on to Jannik Sinner's draw in Halle and have a look who's on his side, because he's obviously the number one seed. He's the number one player in the world still. Alcaraz chasing him down a little bit, though. I think he's within a couple of 1,000 points.
And would you say this is a weaker tournament than Queens?
Yeah, I would do. Just off first look, I would say looks like not such great. I don't know. There's some good players and there's Bergs.
They're both good. Yeah,
they're both good, but I'd give the edge just to Queens.
You've got a few declining players in Tsitsipas, Medvedev. Hurkacz is a bit of a wobble since his injury. Felix is up and down.
Rublev a bit up and down.
Rublev was they're not in the ascendancy, a lot of these players.
Yeah, exactly.
Bergs is. Zverev's not doing too bad. He's in a final. Fonseca's certainly trying his best. But I would say that the other tournament, for me, has a lot more players who can beat Carlos Alcaraz. I'm looking at this and I just see a Sinner victory. I'm pretty confident he's going to go and win this event, whereas I'm not the same for Carlos Alcaraz.
Marazan?
I don't think he's going to trouble him on the grass court at all. I don't look at the other side right now and see anyone, but down the bottom, there is a few players. Of course, Zverev, that would be a fantastic one, but then Zverev would have played 2 full weeks on grass. Not that he can't do that, but I think he could tire slightly and we won't see his best. But no, I don't know. Felix is someone who's a dangerous player to identify. He could have a good event, this one. I have a feeling we could see like Felix back to his best and playing good, in which case we would see a really good match with Sinner, but I think Sinner's still better than him and will have too much. So I'm looking at this event and I'm confident that Jannik Sinner's going to win it.
It does look a bit like that. I'd say the main concern he would have in his section would be Hubie Hurkacz, if I'm honest. Somebody, if he does get through the first couple of rounds, you know he's in good form on the grass. You can see what he's done against big players, namely Djokovic at Wimbledon. He beat Federer in dominant fashion to see him out of the game. And he's played doubles with Jannik Sinner, so he knows his game pretty well. Good friends, but Hurkacz is just, if you've got a big serve and you've got some other tools like the volleying to back it up on grass, it only takes, and this isn't a 5-set match, this is just 2 sets. And like you said earlier, 2 tie breaks and you could be done in this type of tournament. So, and Hurkacz has the tools to win tie breaks. But
who did he just lose to?
Yeah, he also has the tools to lose to people as well. But
who did he lose to? He pulled out, didn't he? Of La Bima Open.
Oh.
He a walkover with Lahal.
Maybe he's just looking towards this matchup. He went through against Batista Agut in the round before with the tie break. There you go. And a 6-4. But maybe one eye. I know he's had this knee injury that he came back from and did very well to come back from. This is the surface. Remember, I think it was you who jinxed him, actually. Remember when you interviewed him and said he was going to beat Djokovic, and then he got the worst injury of his career during Wimbledon?
Well, I'm just reading here, Ben. I think he's withdrawn.
No.
Catch withdraws from Hertogenbosch due to injury. So
maybe he won't be in Halle then.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Well, if he's not, then Sinner's a shoo-in for the final, really. That's the only
it was the walkover against the thing. So I'm not confident in him at all.
Okay.
All my money's on Jannik Sinner.
Yeah, I mean, put your house on him making the final. And if he gets to the final, it's probably going to be a Zverev. I mean, Cerundolo's quite good on the grass, but he's not a big enough server. Zverev.
I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see someone different, like
Umber
or Chapo.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get the 1-2. Let us know in the comments if you got anyone different in this one. Fonseca suddenly becomes a grass court whiz kid, gets to the final.
Well, let's see what he's like on grass. I've never seen it before.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Here you go, Sinner's route, just for anybody who was wondering. Obviously, qualifier in the
Hand
first
him the title, Ben. Hand him the title.
A little bit. Bublik, come on. Bublik's just become the best version of himself. And he nearly beat Jannik Sinner at Roland Garros, remember? So he came really close. That's what he tweeted anyway. Yeah, he got a 7-5 in the middle of 2 bakery items, but still. He's not too bad on the grass courts. We saw him down at the old Boodles, didn't we?
Yeah.
The chat with him down there. But yeah, this tournament, I think, is a lot more clean cut than the Queens one, but I will be excited to watch both of them. There is a tournament going on for the women's in Berlin, and we'll give a preview of that probably a bit later on because I can't really squeeze it all into this one video.
No, I think it deserves its own video, the women's. There's so much to speak about there. Raducanu lost the other day, which means she now will not be seeded for Wimbledon. So that's another big news too. But we'll discuss that on a separate podcast about the women's. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you very soon for more tennis action on the grass courts.